Welcome inside Studio 12. Matt Simon along with assistant coach Wendel McRaven as the Aggies get set for the SEC Cross Country Championships this Friday in Nashville. And Wendel, thanks for joining us today. And I guess you guys get the honor of being the first team to ever compete for a postseason championship.
Yeah, it's exciting. You know, some of our athletes, they circled the date when they found out we were joining the SEC. They circled the date on the calendar and said, you know, this is going to be an exciting day. And you know, our men's team in particular, you know, they feel like we're in the hunt to battle for a championship.
We'll break down the races here in just a sec, but let's look at your season so far. You have put together a very challenging schedule for your group. Took them to Notre Dame, took them to Wisconsin, took them to Rice, and they've competed well throughout all of those. Kind of break down, just general terms maybe, where your teams are at through those rigorous competitions, going into really this is what you compete for. These three meets coming up are the three that you're really focusing on.
Yeah, you know, we want to expose ourselves to great competition. I mean, part of the thing is I think athletes that we attract to our program want to compete with the best in the country. And by going to Notre Dame, by going to Wisconsin, we started off the season pretty low key at Baylor and even at Rice, kind of in-state meets. But the Rice meet had really good competition on a regional level. And then going to Notre Dame, you start seeing a few nationally ranked teams. And then going to Wisconsin, I mean, it is really last year and this year probably are the two best regular season meets probably in the history of the sport, because we had 21 nationally ranked teams at Wisconsin on the men's side. I think it was 20 on the women's side, and so it's unbelievably deep competition. Great opportunities for us to beat teams from other regions. In case we're on the bubble to qualify for nationals, it'll help get us some at-large points. And so I feel like we've prepared well. We've faced good competition without backing down our training, because our training has still been focused on being ready for the championship time of the season, which begins now. And
you also got to look at some other SEC teams that
Yep.
you're going to see. So not only do you get a good look at kind of what a national meet would look like, you also got a little bit of a flavor of what an SEC meet would look like.
Yeah, we see Arkansas every year, so we got to see them a little bit earlier in the year than we normally do. But I think we're going to, both on the track and in cross country, I think that's going to become a little bit of a traditional rival for us on the men's side and the women's side. And then Georgia is doing well on the women's side. Vanderbilt is an up and coming national level program. So yeah, we saw some good teams and some teams that we don't see a lot normally.
All right, let's go ahead and zero in on these races. We'll start off with the women's race. It's a 6K race that'll start at 10 o'clock. Vanderbilt is the defending champion, and you mentioned Arkansas. They're ranked 12th in the country. Vanderbilt and Florida also in the top 30. Kind of handicap the field for us a little bit in the SEC with those maybe being the teams to beat, and then kind of where you see your group fitting in and where you see you can really make a push.
Well, both Arkansas and Florida are both schools that have built up a nice tradition on the women's side in cross country and distance running. Vanderbilt had a breakout season last year. They're kind of a new program. Their staff's been together, I think, for about 5 years, and they've had kind of built it from scratch. And so they're on their home course. They're the defending conference champions. They didn't have a particularly great race at Wisconsin, whereas last year they had kind of a breakout national race at Wisconsin. So they kind of slid a little bit under the radar, but I still think they're being at home, coming off of a top 5 finish at NCAA's last year. They're still going to be they're going to be tough to beat. With Arkansas and Florida nipping at their heels. We're a team. We're an inexperienced team with having Tasha Rogers out this season. We kind of lose that single-digit stick up at the front of the race, so that hurts us a little bit. But we're a top half of the conference type team. We're going to be. I think we can be anywhere from 5th to 8th. If we're 8th, we'll be a little bit disappointed. If we're in the top half of the conference, I think we'll feel like we ran pretty well with the group we have out there this season. Like I said, it's a fairly inexperienced group. We had a couple of young ladies leading the charge in Amanda Jenkins and Sophie Blake that weren't even on our top 7 a year ago, and now they've stepped up to the point where now they're potentially top 15 to 20 runners in this conference, which right on the verge of battling for all conference honors.
And that's something I'm sure that as a coach you like to see, when you have people out, other people step up.
Yep.
That helps build the depth and helps build the experience on the team, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, even talking to Natasha, I mentioned that maybe her being out this season may have been the best thing that happened to the rest of the women. Now, hopefully it's a long-term, short-term pain for long-term gain in the fact that some of these other ladies have now stepped up and had to fulfill a little bit of a leadership role, whereas before they just would have been following Natasha around.
All right, now on the men's side, that'll be an 8K race that starts at 11 o'clock. Arkansas, as you've mentioned a couple of times, kind of the class of the field, defending champs. They've won 19 of the last 21 SEC titles. Arkansas is a top 10 team, and then Georgia and the Aggies are both in the top 30. You have a huge horse in the race, so to speak, in Henry Lilly, where Henry comes in with the best time of anyone in the SEC, so he's got to be at or near the top of it's on paper. Got to be one of the favorites in this race. Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. I mean, I think Henry will be disappointed if he doesn't win the individual championship. He's raced all these guys before, all the individual favorites. He's raced already this season and last season. He's defeated the defending SEC champion Eric Fernandez from Arkansas. He defeated him at the regional meet last year when Henry was the regional champion, and he's defeated him this season already. But we know Arkansas gears up for the SEC meet. They're going to be getting after it. But just knowing Henry and the kind of competitor he is, if he walks away with anything but a one in front of his name, he's going to be a little bit disappointed. And then the key for us, I mean, our guys are going into battle for a championship. There's no question about it. On paper, Arkansas is the favorite, with us, Georgia and Florida probably battling it out for second on paper. We've had a couple guys that have been kind of, like at Wisconsin, struggled a little bit. But they're guys that have struggled in the past during the regular season and have turned it on at the end of the season. Last year we defeated Arkansas at the regional meet, and actually that kept them from qualifying for nationals for the first time in since the 70s. And so I'm sure Arkansas got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder to make sure they beat us both at the regional, both at the SEC meet and the regional meet. But the key for us will be 2 through 5, 2 through 6. Those guys need to. We need our 4 and 5 and 6 runners to close the gap on our 2 and 3 runners. James Hodges has been tremendously consistent for us as our number 2 guy this year. Really stepped up to a different level. And then Stephen Curry has been really consistent as our number 3 guy. But we've got a returning number 2 guy, McLean O'Donnell, who is been a consistent performer for us in cross country and on the track, who's had a couple rough races. And if he steps up and runs with Hodges and Curry like he's capable of, and same thing with Isaac Spencer, all of a sudden, and C.J. Brown, all of a sudden the complexion of the meet could change a little bit. And they understand. This is an experienced group. They understand that's what they need to do if we're going to battle Arkansas for a title.
And you have an experienced group, like you said, that's done a lot of things that have never been done before here this year. In a sport where individual performances are so key, when you're totaling the times, totaling the finishes to build up a team finish, and you've got a guy like Henry Lilly at the top, what does that do for the rest of the group, knowing that odds are pretty high, without putting the pressure on him, odds are pretty high he's going to put up a very, very small number at the top of that list for you guys? Yeah,
I think it takes a little bit of the pressure off a little bit, but at the same time adds a little bit of personal responsibility. Hey, this guy's doing the work up there. I need to step up, make sure that I'm taking care of my end of the bargain as well. And so it gives us obviously some built-in confidence that if he can win, we're in reality we're trying to score 4 guys where everybody else is scoring 5. So it's a good thing to have, no doubt about it.
And then finally, before we let you go, I wanted to ask you, this came out a couple of weeks ago. The Texas A&M announced a huge project, equine center and cross-country course that's going to go out on the far west side of campus. You guys are going to get an unbelievable cross-country facility out of this that should be open in a couple of years. Talk about how excited you are for this and how much it's going to mean to your program.
Oh, I think it's going to mean a ton to our program. It just continues to show the commitment at A&M to both in our track program and within our athletic department, that we want to be good in everything. That we want to have a world-class facility for cross-country. It will help in hosting championships, not only at the collegiate level, but even hopefully attracting some major high school championships, maybe some post-collegiate championships, and a place right on campus for our athletes to train and hopefully eventually get to the point where we're hosting not only SEC and regional championships, but hopefully a national championship as well.
All right, best of luck this weekend.
Thanks,
be watching.
Matt.
All right, that's Wendel McRaven, the Aggies cross-country team at the SEC Championships this Friday in Nashville. Remember, 10 o'clock on Friday, the women race in their 6K championship. 11 o'clock on Friday, the men are in the 8K championship. Log on to secdigitalnetwork.com or right here on AggieAthletics.com to follow the Aggies on Friday from Nashville. And then we'll have a complete wrap-up for you early in the next week right here on 12th Man TV.